Hello there, fellow NPCs. I am Carbon Scythe, and today we're going to continue to play The Ladder. Let's see, what happened exactly in the last episode? I don't quite remember. Right, now I think we were just at the Wright's mansion. No, this is now the Wright's mansion. We were at the Wright's apartments, their flat, discussing some interior design choices. And eventually we concluded that it's better if we visit the mansion and see what is actually needed. We can simply point and click what we want where in the big thing of things. I don't remember how you say that, but yeah. So that is why we're here now. Oh, and also Johans is around parading the territory, trying to figure out where the garden should be. The greenhouse, I mean, and things like that. And he's very upset. Well, he did knock out Zachary, so maybe that's fine. But yeah. Now, let's get the shit scared out of us. Let's go. We're able to enter the mansion after a bit of standing out there in the sun. This wretched, strange sunlight that is far too alien and rare. There had been a bit of a problem, with the missus not knowing which key was which. The first item on the agenda would be the grand staircase. It seems sturdy during the open house, but a close inspection might say otherwise. There are no obvious marks of damage nor wear and tear, probably rethreaded during renovations. Peeking under the grand carpet, the wood is properly installed with a bark placed down to prevent cupping. The carpet itself could use a vacuum though. Structural conditions, from what I can see without actually dismantling the thing, look to be in good shape, and the handrails and support posts are firm. The work on it should be commended. I can't look much more into the rest of the foyer, however, because Mr. Wright starts to hurry us into checking the dining hall.
So, what do you think? Certainly we can't turn this area into a garage.
No, this is not where you put the garage.
It's Jacobean architecture. I'd say these would be pilasters and not buttresses, but you never really know.
That is not what she asked, though. You gotta talk on their language.
They really liked mixing up these elements. You could say it was pretty avant-garde at the time. We might hit a support beam if we're not careful.
Oh, that's bad. You do not want to destroy the support beams.
And in layman's terms?
Yes, exactly. Speak their language.
From what I see here, we could risk great damage to the house if we try to turn the dining hall into a garage.
The man didn't look too pleased at this. He has a look of disappointment before his eyes and look around the place with an air of defeat. When he moves to speak, I dread another unreasonable demand again.
This will stay a dining hall then. But if I may have another request instead, at least spruce the place up with some flowers, some plants or something. It feels so old and dead in here.
He really likes flowers. I mean, if we could just embrace that, he would be a lovely person, but no, he's embracing being a stuck-up ass. Jeez.
That's hardly unreasonable. Daffodils are a must, I presume.
The look that passes between the two of them. There is a genuine look of fondness there. This is the first time I've seen such an exchange between the two of them. If anyone are to see them like this, there are little doubt that they loved each other.
Of course. And I want a garden full of them.
Now, if you excuse me, I'd like to look at the rest of the house. I'll just be around here downstairs, if anybody needs me.
That leaves Mrs. Wright and I.
He's quite fond of them, you know.
Yeah, I'm caught up on that. Why daffodils, though?
I can imagine. He looked terribly upset when we told him he can't have his garage.
I meant the daffodils. We always have a vase full of them in every house we own. Somewhere. I'd like to think. They may be about his mother. He never talks about her. I don't even know her name. He likes to flatter, claim that they remind him of me, but he's always loved the flowers, even before we married.
Much like the piano, I didn't take him for a person who likes flowers. Daffodils least of all. What's next? Am I going to find out that Mr. Wright saves kittens from burning buildings?
I'll go and snoop about upstairs. You go and do whatever it is that you have to do.
When she goes without even asking if I need her here, I'm left standing to stare at the walls. Really, I don't need to do a thorough inspection of the building itself. It isn't a real part of an interior designer's job. But the architect in me is committed to doing this task with every project. If I'm going to make a living space that have both form and function, I might as well make sure that the entirety of it is safe for my clients. Since I'm already here, I roam around the dining hall to check things on my punch list, if you will. But when it's come to move on, I hesitate. Mr. Wright said he would be somewhere around here on the ground floor, and I really didn't want to be alone with whiskey. I have to look through the place eventually, sure, but on the other hand, I can do it later when he's gone. I can go upstairs first, if I want to. Which floor should I go first? Check the ground floor, check the first floor. Now, I did not comprehend what I was saying. No, that was the wrong one as usual. Since I'm already here, I'm running around down and check my personally. But when it's time to move, I hesitate. Ground floor, and I really want to be alone with whiskey. I have to look through the place eventually. I can, if I want to. Yeah, let's go upstairs though, and let's see if we also going to be chased by that ghost in the attic where Isabella first found the letter. I've already seen enough of this floor doing an open house. Of course, I know that is a convenient excuse. I just don't want to be in the same room as whiskey anytime soon. So I might as well go upstairs first. The banisters on the grand staircase's landing are solid and a proper height. Any lower and there would be trouble. There's a small catch on the carpet though, but as long as nobody tries to run down the stairs until it gets fixed, things should be alright. And that is why Isabella tripped. And the stained glass? Art. Restored no doubt in the image of the last Lady and Lord of Ermengarde. Or it was supposed to be. Until Lady Charlotte's fiancé was brutally murdered. Ooh. Charlotte Ermengarde, okay. And her fiancé. By a witch? A witch of all things, from what I read. You'd think the historians of this place will be a lot more scrutinizing filtering out stuff like that. I'm amazed they bothered with it, instead of replacing it with some generic cookie-cutter design. The entire piece alone would have cost roughly 500, even £1 million. Roughly 500,000. You forgot to add that. Even £1 million. Lady Charlotte Ermengarde and her beloved. Lady Charlotte and her beloved. Looking at the mosaic, it's not too far a stretch of the imagination to believe that the depicted images could be Mr. and Mrs. Wright. It can be easily assumed as such if one doesn't know the history of the mansion. Really, a place like this should be protected by the government as a landmark. But what can I do about it? Yeah. Walking into the east wing, I try to get into the theater but is met with an obstacle. Obstacle that is locked doors. 2 doors. 2! And both of them are locked. I'd be frustrated, would be, if I already hadn't snuck off while the Wrights were having their little business meeting with Miss Cooper before to take a peek. With what Mr. Wright wanted, we'd all have to install a powerful projector, the type they use in cinemas, and a projection screen. The seats would have to be reupholstered if they're to be any comfortable, and the walls will have to be covered in dark material, paint, wallpaper, or install wall-to-wall carpeting. Really, of all the rooms I could be jealous of, it's this one. I could just picture myself in there, watching old kung fu flicks on a weekend-long marathon. And oh, you could be good friends with Zack. Why are you being so stuck up? You're just chasing people away that way. If you separate your life from your profession, your personal life from your profession, you sure that's a good thing. But it's okay to have a little bit of overlap so that you can find new friends in unexpected places, you know, and things like that. You don't have to have such a clear cutoff. Makes me wonder what kind of movies Mrs. Wright would like. A rom-com, perhaps. Her husband, on the other hand, I'd rather not think about it. In the middle of my notion and planning, I don't even realize that I'm not alone, until I'm caught standing in front of the doctor like a fool. I'm worried.
Were you meaning to go in there? I'm afraid we won't be able to open it up today.
I see.
Oh well, I wanted to, but it's fine. I can still survey the rest of the place.
Apologies, but a key was missing when they were handed over. They told us that they'd get right back to us with it.
What? But aren't they supposed to hand over all the keys once property changes hands? That can be grounds to file a complaint.
I think you might have to have a bit of that you can excuse it, considering that they just wanted it done so fast that it can be excused in that sense.
They were already kind enough to let us move in so early. There's no need to raise a fuss about it. Worst comes to worst, we can call for a locksmith.
The air is heavy and somber when she grows quiet and glances out the window. Out towards the vast expanse that surrounded what would be their house. Their home. Then she looks back at me with a sigh and a bitter smile.
Flowers. Yellow flowers. Daffodils, dandelions, and sunflowers and the sort all up front. Just a whole garden of them. They'll make the house look lovely, won't they?
I thought daffodils and dandelions were kind of like weeds, honestly. I don't know my English name for flowers.
Of course. A garden is a wonderful addition to any home.
As I say this, her eyes roam over me, scrutinizing and thoughtful. I have to hold back the shiver that threatens to run down my spine at being inspected so closely.
Yes, it must be nice.
We're still talking about the gardens, yes?
I mean, not having to worry about what another person thinks of you.
No.
What do you mean by that?
She lifts her hand and points to her wedding ring before it falls listlessly to her side.
Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I didn't marry Luke.
You should keep on wondering about that, because that very well could be the better option. Divorce him.
There'll be no fights about walk-in closets or silly helipads. I could do with this place as my heart desires until there's nothing but content. Then again, I wouldn't have bought this place if it wasn't a gift for him. I probably wouldn't even be in Luxbourne if it wasn't for him. Maybe I would have moved to London, Manchester, or Birmingham. I might have even left the country altogether. France, Germany, Spain, Canada, Sweden, even America. The possibilities would have been endless.
I don't know what to say to that. What is there to say?
I'm sorry, I must sound so petty and ungrateful. I do love him. So very much, even if he can be a bit difficult at times.
Oh no, not at all. I'm just confused why you're telling me this, of all people.
Just a whim, I think. Just flights of fancy, that's all. Don't you ever think about one decision you've made in your life and wonder how much would change if you chose to do things differently?
I try not to dwell on the past, ma'am.
The keyword is try, of course. Thinking of the past brings up too many ghosts. Memories of her. And I do wonder what would change if I just said yes when she asked for me. Maybe she'd still be with me. I return to the present, just like I said. Try not to dwell on the past. Why don't you decide on your own? because I want her to get rid of Luke. But this could... Well, I don't really mind if Hana and Marianne are not on good terms with each other. I honestly don't mind that, so why don't you decide on your own? Her words seem simple enough. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't have to be as difficult as she makes it out to be, right?
Why don't you decide
I
on
meant
your
nothing
own?
against Mr. Right, of course. Though whiskey buggered me to no end. By law, she would be owner of the house. Well, unless they sign a joint property ownership anyway. Which is a rare thing, as far as I know, especially among these eyebrow types. Sure, they could actually love their spouse. I don't doubt the possibility. But money is money, and it makes people do the most horrible things sometimes.
It's your house. You can paint the whole place pink if you want, and there's not much he can do.
The somber expression she had changes to a look of contempt.
I could, but we are husband and wife. Equal partners in marriage, Marianne.
Ooh!
I can't see that you don't understand.
I honestly did not think that is what I was responding to. I kind of messed up in that sense.
This is his home as much as it is mine. I'm not going to go behind his back over a room. And how dare you suggest that?
How do I even talk her down without causing further offense? It's in my attempt to shake off my own drama that I end up tripping right into theirs. Because really, I have no business meddling in the affairs of my clients, unless it involved interior design or architecture. Yet here I am, opening my mouth and yapping. I do hate to see a good woman down.
That's not what I meant by it. I just mean that maybe you don't have to get the approval of your husband all the time. Or well, okay, fine. I know nothing about married life, Mrs. Wright. You're right about that. But I still think you're allowed your indulgences every now and then.
Oh, is that why? Let's see. She did say something about... When we were playing Hana's Path, she did say something about, I want this, so I'm gonna get this. Of course, my form of indulgence meant buying old slate 78 RPM country records which I don't even dare use with my gramophone. Why does she have such unique, quirky hobbies that has nothing that is not similar to anyone else? I mean, yeah, sure. As I was told, she is a... what's the word? Someone who kickstarted this project created her, but they are still so unconventional hobbies, considering how she grew up. For her, it could very well be buying entire houses.
That's just my take on it. A perfect relationship is as rare as hen's teeth. You got what you got. I mean, you're doing well enough without my advice. Sure, look it.
That looks to placate her somewhat. Placate? She looks away and starts to favor the view outside once more with a faraway look in her eyes.
Feel free to look around the rest of the house. Everything but the theatre should be open. Just call if there's need of me.
Of course, Mrs. Wright.
I really shouldn't have opened my big mouth in the first place. This sort of thing only gets me in trouble. Keep it clean, keep it simple, and stick to business. That's it. Be professional. But I failed to do that just because of a pretty face. When she turns to leave, she glances back at me before disappearing into the foyer. I look out the window from where she was standing. Oh no, this is the wrong music. And I move on. alone with nothing but my thoughts and her.
Finally, some peace and quiet. Thought the old biddy would never leave.
Sheesh. It's utter madness, this hearing things. I reckon it's the stress, though I don't know what exactly I'm stressed about. If meeting Mrs. Wright has really thrown me out for a loop, I'll be worried. If I'm developing some sort of psychosis or disorder, well, I'd call a doctor. But hopefully it isn't that. Not right here. And not right now. I mean, I could just be that personal talking cricket, the conscience, so to speak. And I'm only noticing now, though if it isn't very helpful. Pushing the dilemma of my voices in my head aside, I'll go back to work. But I can barely make it a few steps before everything tilts and shifts. I don't really stumble, but it feels like I'm being thrown off my feet, and the rest of the world just follows. Though my feet stay firmly on the ground, and even if I stay mostly upright, I feel like I've been heaved and put off balance. I have to close my eyes, in the hopes of willing the sudden sense of hurt to go away, but when I open them, oh no. Whoa! And there's even mist in here, just floating up here. Is that like because it's cold and creepy, or is that like emanating from the blood? This sucks ass. But I don't feel any less sick because of the sight that greets me. Blood dripped from the walls and the ceiling, pooling downward and seeping into the curtains and the carpet. A wave of nausea, stronger than the last, hits me along with the overpowering stench of blood and gore. I want to bolt. The rational part of my head is telling me to flee. And I would have gladly done as it asked, if only I didn't hear her.
In here, Marianne. Come on, I have something to show you.
No. I could have ignored it, would have ignored it, if I only heard it in my head. But I swear that this time it's coming from one of the rooms. Much further into the study. On the wall in the painting with the creepy, ugly, not painting picture of the murdered lady. And I feel compelled to pay attention. I can't just turn around and leave. Not when it's her. I don't even think as I follow the sound of her voice. This is such a pretty picture! So cute! Lorraine. A lovely Amanda Lorraine. Oh lord. Lasarfiona. That's Arfina. I cannot read Irish. All I know is it's not Lasarfiona. Lasarfiona. It's not that, because Irish. She was my friend, the only one that I had at St. Samtans. I was a scholar, a charity case, in a school for privileged and prestigious young girls. They all looked down at me, if they cared to look at me or acknowledge my presence at all. All except her.
Oh, stop your crying. You know better than to listen to Maeve.
Maeve. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's Maeve. Medvada.
Why I gotta teach that butterface a lesson?
Butterface.
Wait, no, lass! I don't want you getting into trouble with the sisters again!
Relax. It's not like I'm going to stomp her and her lackey's arses flat like last time.
Wow.
Come on, let's just go back to our dorm room. I don't want to be on my Tobler while you go get yourself punished.
You'll be fine. Gip's there with you.
Lorraine was there when I needed her, through my highs and lows. Having her as a friend made being in a strange school, away from my father, all the more tolerable. She saw this poor, helpless girl who was kept down and shunned by everyone else, and being the kind soul that she was, she rescued me. So brave. So beautiful. She was something else.
I'll eat all the chocolates stashed away in your closet if you go.
I can get more. Just don't
Mar.
go complaining to me if you get a tummy ache because of that.
Turning it around.
Well, you don't want to get detention on a weekend, do you? It's a Friday. We can go to town and have some karaoke. And we can have a go at druids and demons again.
Oh, she was a nerd too! That's awesome.
You're not going to miss that just because of Maeve, are you?
Sometimes I question what I did to deserve a friend like her. In the darkest corner of my mind, where treacherous thoughts lurked, I thought that she only felt sorry for me. Maybe she was just being a good Samaritan, offering a helping hand. And perhaps I had been too selfish to return the favor.
You have a point. I'll just kick her arse on Monday then.
That's not what I mean!
I know what you mean, Em.
Wait, where are you going? You just told me you wouldn't cause trouble.
I still have something to do. Don't worry, it's not like I'm going to burn down her dorm room or something criminal like that. I'm just going to talk to her.
Oh. Are you going to do like Scythe and actually threaten her with just a few words? That completely ruins everything you think about yourself? She's good. Scythe from Leap of Faith is dangerous that way, apparently.
Maybe I'll make it so that her room smells like a dog's air biscuit. That'll make it an excellent weekend.
What the hell is a dog's air biscuit? I'm gonna say dog's air biscuit makes me think fart, but dog's biscuit makes me think poop.
I'll see you in a bit, Marianne. Lots of tumblers.
Because when she told me that she loved me, I couldn't admit that I felt the same way. Not to her, and not even to myself. It was wrong. It's what I thought that way. Husband and wife, one man and woman. One man and woman. Unclean, impure. I prayed for her and I, for our sins and for salvation. I wanted to apologize for disregarding her feelings so callously. It must have been like a slap to the face for her. Oh, so she... Okay, I thought she already told her. Okay, no. So when... well, I don't remember your name now. But when she confessed that she loved Marianne, she could not accept it. And she left, maybe even took her life. Because this is the kind of game, and Marianne is the kind of character that would have that kind of super sad story. Nothing goes right for Marianne growing up. And she's the quirky, lovely, lovable character. But life had gotten in the way. Exams, which were trivial in hindsight now, took top priority. I had to keep my grades up to keep my scholarship for my father. I told myself I would apologize to her when those were over, that I needed to focus first and not let anything distract me. It had been easy when she avoided me like the plague. She was upset. I get that. Yeah! This is the room I was thinking about, and here is where the horrible, horrible painting were. But I did not expect this much blood. I thought I had the time to make things right, but...
At 7 in the morning, students found a 5th year dead.
Yeah. Like I said, she died for some reason.
Assumed to have fallen from her dormitory window.
Or jumped. They told us that it was an accident. That was the official statement. But I knew better. She was dead because of me.
Maeve had a hook and I kicked the bucket, didn't she?
Lorraine was her name.
Ding dong, the witch is dead!
She had. Thought she didn't say which Lorraine.
But at least Maeve had the courage to admit how she felt about me.
I don't even know how long I'd been stuck here in a trance. In the mirror, Lorraine smiles at me. She's as beautiful as I remember her. But then... I feel bile rise up in my throat as her clean image warps into how she looked like when they found her dead, lying on the cold, hard ground. Good Saint Dymphna, great wonder worker in every affliction of mind and body, help me! I'm seeing things, hearing things. Am I going completely insane? Looking everywhere but at her, I hope and pray that it's enough to will whatever this is to go away. It doesn't even immediately register in my head that I can just leave.
You, on the other hand, can't even look me in the eye.
This isn't real. You're not.
Oh, what would be absolutely horrendous if they animated her pounding the window, the mirror, from inside. That would be absolutely horrifying.
You're dead!
Oh, I need to use that for my TTRPG.
I'm dead. Because of you. And you won't even look at me. Look at me.
My breathing quickens, and I can feel my heart being torn apart by her words.
I'm so sorry, Lorraine.
Look at me!
I can't take it because she's right. It was my fault. The least I can do is look at what I've done. Lorraine, broken and bleeding, looks at me with such hate-filled eyes. An unnatural smile stretches across her face, and I can only see malice in it. Oh! That was slightly more than I anticipated. Then she lunges as the mirror ripples around her form, the glass parting like the water surface for her. Wow, that's cool. The glass parting like the water's surface for her. Now what do we do? She grips my shoulders and I can feel her nails dig deep, sharp even through the fabric of my clothes.
There you are.
Well, what do I do? I see.
You're coming with me.
Okay, I just couldn't grasp what I was supposed to do. There you are. That was so easy and so not scary. What the hell? Apologies spill through my lips and as tears cloud my vision. Why did the relationship increase? Or no, nothing. What the hell? But I won't give in to this madness. With every bit of strength I have left, I struggle to get away from her. Fear grips and threatens to shock me. I endure. I escape. And without turning back, I stumble back out. In my panic, I don't even care to look where I'm going. With one hand on the wall to steady me, I just hobble as fast as I can away from the study. Away from that mirror. Freedom is bittersweet. I'm free from the madness, it seems, as running into the hallway reveals it to be in a pristine condition. But it means I've turned my back on Lorraine. Again. I have no plans of stopping, not until I know I'm safe. And if that means walking back to Luxburn, as ridiculous as the idea is, so be it. Someone suddenly grabs hold of me, however. Fingers digging deep into my shoulders, and my heart nearly stops. Again? My body seizes and I nearly scream.
Marianne, you look awful. I mean, not awful, but did something happen? Are you alright?
This is right.
Fall to your knees, cry, bury your face in her stomach, you know, go all out, I am vulnerable. Oh, close. Without thinking, I sought comfort, seeing that it wasn't her. It's a sudden impulsive thing to do, and had I been in a better condition, I wouldn't even dare of doing such a thing. But I didn't know what else to do. Though I know I shouldn't. The warmth, the scent, they grounded me. She's intoxicating.
Marianne, what's going on? Oh, you're shaking like a leaf.
Tremors run through my body as soon as my mind realizes I am no longer in danger. I wanted to cry, scream about what I have seen, but like a scared child I couldn't control myself. My mind couldn't reconcile with what I had seen. I should just write it off as a figment of my imagination, yet I can still feel her nails cutting into my skin.
Are you sick? Should I call for a doctor?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Wright. Just feeling a little woozy and lightheaded is all.
Let's get you somewhere to sit down then. Come on, don't worry, I have you.
A lie. But a whole lot less complicated than telling her I was attacked by a dead girl. When the feeling of fear eases off, I feel nothing but shame for my actions. I quickly back away as I clear my throat and nod my thanks.
I think I've had enough looking around. If it's all right with you and Mr. Wright, I'll meet you outside.
If you're sure, I'll have the car started. Do you need assistance heading downstairs?
I'm all right, ma'am. Just go on ahead and I'll be right there.
I seem to placate her worries, though only for a brief second. Before she heads down, and on missed a concerned glance she shoots my way, hidden quickly under another smile. I won't begrudge her for it, that worry. The look on my face must have been a strange enough sight on its own. Even I am still reeling from whatever that was. Her voice still whispers in my ears. After all these years, she's still... No, Marianne. Shaking my head over her thoughts, I drag in a breath and follow shortly after Mrs. Wright. Whatever has happened in the past is long gone. Only memories now. And those are things I can no longer bring back. It's already dark as we make our way out of the mansion. With no lights, we are only illuminated by the headlamps of the Wright's car, and the stars are up above us. The sight of them helps me compose myself much more than several minutes of being alone did. The car's engine is running, yet the two still stand out on the lawn. Mrs. Wright is busy, eyes up on the stars. Mr. Wright, arms crossed, has his eyes down on the ground. It is the crunch of the grass under my heels that brings their attention to me.
About time, what took you so long?
You bitch.
A minute longer and I'd think the house swallowed you all up.
Oh, it did. It did, though. It did.
Oh, hush, dear. I'm sure she has her reasons. Marianne doesn't seem the sort to idle.
Sorry, I was just checking on something important.
What could be so important?
See, business is business and they take time, love. You should know that better than anyone. So, Marianne, what do you think? Are you the woman for the job?
Of course I am.
I know we already signed papers hiring you, but I want to be 100% sure that you are committed.
I glanced back towards the mansion, knowing what I had seen there. Or rather, who I thought I saw there. Because there is no way. Not to mention how I acted towards Mrs. Wright, for goodness sake. I should feel the slightest bit hesitant. I was lucky. I've seen enough films to know what happens when a promiscuous woman enters a haunted house. Yeah, right, she does take home strange men after being out at the bar and things like that. But promiscuous? Who knows? This is my chance to turn it down, make excuses, say that I'm not up to the task, that I need to take care of my old, sick father. Just pay the fine, which is probably outrageous for a contract like this, and let it go. I should turn it down, but for some obstinate reason I can't. In the same manner I haven't let go of her, or the regret that has shadowed me since that day. Much as I hate to admit it even to myself, seeing her again, the mischievous glint in her eyes, the loose tendrils of her hair curled around her forehead. It's something I've terribly missed, and now that it's here, almost within the arm's reach, My father would tell me, sometimes you simply have to go through with it, consequences be damned. And well, I really don't have any logical reason to say no. At least, not something a client like the Wrights would want to hear from a professional designer.
It's certainly an interesting project. You can be sure I'm seeing it through the end.
Such dedication! Oh, I do love the determination.
You were always determined like that, weren't you?
Hearing her voice once again sends a chill running down my back. I can't wait for this day to be over. From the mansion and through Anselm, I rode with them in silence. And let's read the journal, and then I'm ending for today. Now let's see here. It's been a long day here. Oof. Marianne examined the first floor upon arrival at the mansion. After a small talk with Hannah Wright, Marianne headed for the study. There she saw a ghost from her past reflected in the mirror. Despite that, she gave her word that she would see through the project until the end. Yeah, that's never good, is it now? But as I said, that is the end of today's episode. Honestly, this was the least scary episode, considering it was supposed to be scary. I don't know. Is it... I cannot have been that jaded that fast, because I was scared shitless when Zachary was attacked. And here, nothing. I think it might be Marianne's character and her ghost that is not as scary. I know of course it's the same ghost, but it takes a different form because Marianne is already haunted and things like that. But for some reason, Lorraine is not as scary as the rest of the game. That's unfortunate, because the scary part is a big deal of why this game is so great. But if you want to watch anything else that I've been playing, you can find it at the bottom of the screen. And remember, just because you're not the main character doesn't mean you're not important. Goodbye, everyone.